All right, Victoria 3 fans, I've got a little bit of the late game blues coming up. Not because I made everything blue and it is the late game, although France is a great color for Africa. Although I'll never get this little spot. There's some glitch in the game and we can't reach that part of Inner Mauritania. So, everything else, though, looking fine. And because Italy and Spain got salty with me, well, I had to take the Canary Islands and everything Spain owned in Africa and the parts of Italy that made sense to be part of France. Much more natural, those borders. And if Italy gets salty again, well then, I have already got an idea about how I'm going to rearrange their furniture. Speaking of rearranging the furniture, hello Russia and Austria. I hope you like having Hungary, Bohemia, Poland, and Ukraine for neighbors. Don't mess with me again and I won't have to take any more off of you. And I did get my Tyrol. That does look a lot nicer this way. Now I just got this mess up here in the north. It probably would be much easier to conquer all of Hesse, Saxony, Anhalt, Brandenburg, and everything up to and including Denmark and Belgium, but I can't here because the USA made it their protectorate. Regrets are already happening. I should have taken the British Raj and helped them to become independent because they're powering the British Republic and they're becoming a threat to me. They've already taken parts of Africa. Anyway, I digress. To say that I've had a fun ride is dead on the money. This is a great game. Love the bones. Can't wait to have more historical content. But I got some issues now that I'm hitting the late game. Some regrets. And these regrets have something to do with the mods that I either have or don't have with the 1.5 version of the game. First one, you may have noticed I've got this weird symbol here that's not the electricity symbol. It's the electrical credits or energy credits one. This comes with a mod that I really enjoyed because this allows electricity to be movable. It's no longer stuck to the area that produces it. Okay, so right here, this is showing production on the map. Now keep your eye down here. I've got 1122 here in Aquitaine, but then but then when I talk about consumption, it only uses 1011, whereas these guys up here are using way more electricity than they make. This is not a problem. Instead of everything in here showing, oh my gosh, we have a shortage because we're consuming way more than we produce. What was surplus here is now usable over here. That's what the energy credit mod did. It's called energy credit, and it allowed all of it removed the local goods tag and made my energy transportable, but it also made it tradable. We take a look here, and yeah, I'm using it for all these factories and things, but the trade routes, 3.3K going over to England. It's leaving my market. If I had kept that local, then my local price would be lower, my standard of living would be higher because people get more things for the same amount of money, yada yada. It would be better. I want to keep my electricity in my country. I don't want to be trading it, and that mod made things tradable. So my next go around is going to be with power plant not local. This one, like it says here in the description with the really tiny writing on the screen there, power plants are not local but not tradable. Or in other words, I'll be able to make power for my own market, but it's not going to go into somebody else's market. From what I see here, I don't know if it means it's not going to cross national borders, but for sure it won't go to another market. And that, as you know, I'm all about the autarky. I want to be able to keep things in my country and not send them out to another country. I could embargo the British, but I want to keep them on good terms. Better to have something that just doesn't let that problem happen. Power plant not local means essentially I can have power lines within my own country, but they're not going to go across the water or international borders. I'm cool with that. And though the mod says it's not compatible with any other electrical mods, that may be something of a disclaimer because he's got the same disclaimer on transportation not local, which I also plan to use. And someone here says it works with make my railway profitable again, which I am using to, make my railways profitable again because of things that happened to them in the 1.5 release. So go figure on that. So that's some of my economic woes. Everything else I think I'm fine with. I need to make more iron, more steel, more engines, yada yada. This is going to happen. And I've also discovered I don't have as much an aversion to mixing production methods in the late game that I did in the early game. Let me explain. Let's take a look at tooling workshops. I just discovered recently how to make the machined steel tools. Fantastic. Now I can make way more tools than ever before and no longer have those tool shortages or have to build a tool factory that makes only 40 or 50 tools. Now they'll make a zillion of them. I think, what is it now? 120 per level. Wow, that's amazing. And then the old ones are 80 per level. So how do I do it? Well, in the other part of the game, you just want everything maxed out, and you don't want to have to be jumping around between the lower and the higher. Or if you do, it gets confusing, especially when you bring in the other method and like, well, I need to leave these guys on crude, but these guys can go to machined. Oh, forget about that. But if I do want to go from steel to machined all at once, well, brother, I can make 6,000 more tools just like that. Problem is, I don't want to make 6,000 more tools just like that. I actually have a surplus right now. So let's not do that. But if it does start to creep up in here, like it says, like I've got minus 1K tools or minus 700, I'll go over here, scroll down. Where am I at? All right, go to these guys. Clicking over to them makes 240 more. All right, deduct that from the deficit, then keep going through these. These guys will make another 240. Great. So that is 480. I need 700. What do these guys make? 160. Yeah, that's close enough. I'll just do those. Convert them and then move on with my life. I've dealt with the shortage. And by the time I get to the end of all this, should that happen, I will have grown into that new technology. And then at that point, if I need any more tools, once they're all making maximum tools, then I build a new factory. This is also good to do when you know you're going to max out on something before you discover the next technology in that area. Like for steel, when I hit open hearth processes, I needed steel desperately, so I went there. Going to electric arc process, that's going to get me another 4.56K steel. I only need 1,000. Let's start working on that. Instead of building more steel mills, let's make more steel with the ones we have. Making conversion in just one factory gives me 30 more steels. Making it in 12 factories, that gives me 360 more steels. So converting the big factories is going to be a big factor. And I'm fine with that because now the split arrow is no longer between, a bunch of different ones. I know it's either the old one or the new one. And I know that I'm going to eventually phase in the new ones. Like here on Motor Industries, I need another 1,000 motors. I'm already making these diesel guys, or the electric ones. I haven't yet gone over to diesel. Sorry. Boy, I really need engines though. So I'm happy to have this. As soon as it shows up, going from 40 to 80 per factory is manna from heaven. But I do need 1,000 more. So yeah, there's 320 there, and there's 400 there. That's 700. And this guy gets me another 400. Sure, we'll go with that. And we now see that they're no longer here. I got radio shortages, but, well, you get the picture. Going through those gradually, I'm okay with that in the late game. This is where I do want to be a little more, I guess, micromanagey, just because I know I'm phasing in those final production methods. And if I go cut over to them all at once, I'll destroy my economy. I'll make way too much of it. And somehow figuring how to make 10,000 fabric less is going to help out those people there. This is not a problem with subsistence farms. Only 1,000 of my fabrics are being made there. I've got 21,000 being made by cotton plantations, and I don't need 10,000 of it. But that's on me. That's on me. Everything else, the energy is the only one that I need to switch mods on. Transportation, I think if I had that fixed up with the other mod, that I would have less issues with it here, and I'd also be phasing in the railroad technologies that give me better transport. But my other issue is with the politics. I'm trying to pass this compulsory primary school bill because I think kids should go to school. And yet the two biggest movements in my country are to either preserve restricted child labor or go to autocracy. I mean, look at that support. 4.65 million want autocracy. 8.75 million want restricted child labor. Hello, look at the government. The one that got voted in that enjoys a very healthy, legitimate margin of popularity. They're agrarians. They're Republicans. They're radicals or reformers. Okay, these guys are authoritarian, but everybody else, man, come on. And this is something that others notice, that if you want to keep moving in a more progressive stance on your laws, you want to get kids to where they go to school. Good heavens, help me on propertied women. We're stuck right here. If I try to get women in the workplace, everybody's opposed to that. And voting, they're opposed to that even more. When really they shouldn't be. We should be at least trying to get women in the workplace. And for taxation laws, per capita taxation is the best of a bad three. But to get to proportional or graduated taxation, I've got to have just the trade unions are the only ones asking for it. But this is the progressive era. This is when intellectuals and other groups of people like them were saying we can have a better form of taxation if we go to progressive or graduated or what have you. And that would really help my economy because you need those forms of taxation to support a higher amount of military and other things. By 1910, every major country in Europe had mass conscription, essentially, for their military model, and they had some form of taxation that was able to support that mass conscription model. Per capita tax doesn't do it. They had to go to some form of graduated or progressive tax, and we're not seeing that happen here, especially with this particular government in charge that should be proposing those bills. It should have those movements to get them. Instead, the strongest ones are to go zigzag back to autocracy or roll things back to the way they used to be. And we're not seeing, except for this right of assembly one, which frankly doesn't enjoy that much love on it, we don't see that much pressure to go forward with these more modern methodologies, these ideologies. And that's where this mod comes in, less reactionary beliefs. It does go in as one of the rules at the beginning of the game. So yeah, again, an idea for my next playthrough. The modder, Taylor, has done some fantastic stuff. I am a fan of his mods. I'm following him. I've given it my thumbs up here. Once I play through it and see how it goes, well, we'll see if it helps me out there. The idea is to make it where instead of having these zigzag reactionary beliefs where the only way to get to that progressive taxation is to first go to autocracy, then have everybody be furious about that, and then demand that we go back to democracy and go back to this and then adopt this new taxation form. That shouldn't happen. It should arise organically from movements that should be friendly to it. That's what this is trying to address. And that's what I'm hoping to see in the late game on the next game that I play with this mod in place. Now, some mods that I don't plan to use in the next playthrough. Smarter AI. This seems to be very popular in the Steam Workshop right now. I tried it out on several playthroughs. It didn't quite do as advertised for me. I had higher GDPs globally by 1866 without this mod than with it. This does seem to work better in multiplayer, but as a single player, it didn't have the effect for me. Your mileage may vary. It does, again, it's a popular one, but you may want to check it out. It doesn't take that long to get to 1866. So play one country up to 1866, save it, get a screenshot of all the GDPs nationally, sort them by the top 20, and then go back and play the same country, same way, up to 1866, and then compare and see if there's a difference between this mod and without it modded. Or you could do it in observer mode, same difference there. But if you want to see a review of this mod and how it impacts things, for me, sadly, it didn't quite work. I hope if you use it that it comes out different, but again, compare the two and just see for yourself. This person has other mods. I haven't given them a try, but that's the wonderful thing about the modding community. Lots of people trying lots of things, and we're free to see if they work for us or not. And if they do work for us, keep the mod, keep using it. And I really wish this person some success. We had some discussion on that mod, and I think that maybe one day it may come out where it works better, and I'd love to give it a try once it's been improved. Another mod I've been asked to look at that I don't plan to do is the economic and financial mod, and there's some reasons. It's an incredibly popular mod. I mean, look, it is festooned with awards. There are people who are really enjoying it. I'm not one of them, and I will tell you why. This big warning sign. It is not going to work with many other mods, including ones that I consider essential for quality of life. I've got mods that will improve performance and do some other tweaks. I need those. I really need those. So because of that, the incompatibility issue, I won't be using this mod. The other reason I'm not going to use it is not because when you scroll down, you realize, oh my gosh, the how to use it mod is actually a very brief overview of macroeconomics and monetary policy. I'm fine with macroeconomics and monetary policy. That stuff is great fun. And believe me, my eyes water and drool over the possibility of getting a AAA bond rating for my nation. Ha ha ha! Oh yeah, and then acquiring foreign currencies and dealing with the balance of trade, and that way, importing everything, that's going to punish you now, man. All this is really nice and fun. But in the mod, it places your central bank and your stock market in a particular location. I think it's the central bank that gets me, because if you take the province that has a central bank in it, you get a big chunk of that country's gold reserves. Basically, you capture a lot of money. And that just didn't happen historically. Yes, you see tales in the U.S. Civil War about people making like decisions like, should we move all the money out of this location because the enemy is coming, or questions like that. And the thing is that, yeah, the money usually does get moved and it gets protected. When the Germans took Paris in 1871, they did not loot the treasury. Instead, they just laid an indemnity on the French that was actually a higher amount in real terms than what the French did to the Germans at the end of World War I. But they laid a huge indemnity upon the French. They didn't walk away with all their gold reserves. So I don't like that little bit in there, because I do capture capitals frequently in order to shut down a war. You run in, you take the land you need, then boom, beeline for the capital, and then you don't have to worry about conquering everything else. Hello, Victoria 2. Why didn't you do that? But anyway, so, I have to take the capital frequently to win a war, and I don't want to be having suddenly I get all their gold, or a big chunk of their gold reserves from having done that. I just don't want that. But for the rest of this, guys, if you're into economics and you don't mind taking the performance hits that come with the vanilla play and having this be this or this and a few others being the only mods you play with, you really do get to play with everything in there. I did kick it around some, and I'm like, oh wow, there's a lot of power in here, and if you don't know what you're doing, you can wreck your country horribly. And some of that is in here where there are things things in the comments that say either, oh my gosh, best mod ever, love it, from an economics student, and others were like, wait, I turned this on and I did something dumb and now my economy is ruined. What happened? Yeah, if you know what you're doing, if you read through these things and you're familiar with the concepts, great, do it. If you're going, wait, what's a balance of trade? Take a course in economics. Macroeconomics is what you want to do, but there should be plenty of online courses, Khan Academy, whatever, but take an online course in economics so you become familiar with the concepts, and that is going to be your how-to guide for making this work. But again, because the big thing for me is it doesn't let me play with other mods that I determine are essential. That's why I won't be doing this particular mod in a future gameplay. But I will be doing Less Reactionary Beliefs from Taylor, King Richard's Transportation Not Local, and King Richard's Power Plant Not Local. Transportation Not Local just because why not, but Power Plant so that way I can solve the problem of why electricity going to Britain, and the Less Reactionary so that way interest groups will promote laws that serve their needs rather than having the big movements arising from the opposition. So yeah, this has been a fun run with the French Republic. I think I got a little too much Europe. And I'm happy with the amount of Africa I got. Weird stuff happened in Canada. Brazil got a slice of Colombia. China exploded, and the British have definitely moved in on that. Great fun with all those. But I think it's time for me to do a new game. And I guess on that last note there, yes, I got a lot of Europe here that I really didn't plan to get at the start of the game. I just thought I'm going to get Rhineland, North Rhine, Belgium, a little bit of the Netherlands, and I'll be good there. And I wound up getting a lot more. And I know I talked about the trade-off between building up your military and taking land as opposed to building up your economy and keeping what you got. And I have to say that, yes, I did take that other path with this save to build I built my economy and I had a lot of great things going on, but then it looked like other nations were becoming too strong and they might come and take what I had. It certainly that was the case for Switzerland. They were doing fine building up their economy all by themselves. Then I came and took what they had. Baden, Württemberg, Bavaria. Yeah, I swallowed them all up. Italy. Picked off 2 provinces off of Austria, another 2 off of Italy, Savoy and Piedmont, and I could grab more. Yeah. So, but having all this extra stuff, it makes my country stronger, and it makes the other ones weaker. This is a big question that I'll have to have. In my next playthrough, will I be acquisitive, or will I be content to remain with my own borders? It's a problem I struggle with. And yeah, I think I will cut back on some of the infamy mods that I had, just because I think I have been abusing them. And when you admit you have a problem, that's when you find that there's a solution. I'll cut back. I hope this helps you with the way you play Victoria 3, and I hope you are willing to go forward where no French Republic has gone before, or Prussia, or whatever your nation you play. May all your diplomatic plays work the way you hope them to do, and may you get the right set of mods so you don't have regrets come 1898 and go, I really should do something about this, shouldn't I? Until next time, I'm Mr. Dean. Have a great day. Bye-bye.